Great. Hello, everyone. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Emily Walters. I am an admissions and PhD recruiting specialist here within the College of Engineering. And in this morning's webinar, as part of our Wonder Week, we are going to cover our Master of Science in Wireless and Network Engineering and Internet of Things. I am joined by Joseph Jornet, Stefano Basigni, and one of our student ambassadors, Charishma. So I will start off with a brief overview of Northeastern, and then we will get diving into the bulk of the presentation, more specific to the program. So just to give a brief overview at a bird's eye of Northeastern, we are a top-ranked R1 research and experiential learning university. We are ranked #1 in co-op and internships, which we'll talk a little bit more about a bit later on in the presentation. We are made up of over 10 colleges and schools, College of Engineering being the largest. We have over 50,000 students total and degrees up to the doctorate level. We have over $296 million in external research awards. Research is a common theme you'll hear a lot more about in today's presentation and as you learn more about Northeastern. Our main campus and our flagship campus is located in Boston, Massachusetts. However, we have 13 campuses as part of our global network, which we do highlight over on the next slide. And you can see here photos of the locations where we have these global campuses. As we continue to grow, we are starting to offer some of our graduate engineering programs on these global campuses. All of the programs that you'll hear of course, are available in our Boston, Massachusetts campus, but we are starting to expand. We'll go a little bit more into detail and you'll see just exactly where some of these programs are being offered as we go forward. But you can go to the next slide. Thank you. This is a little bit of a breakdown of the College of Engineering, just to give you a better idea of how we're comprised. As you can see, over 10,000 students make up our student body, and a majority of those, over 6,000, are graduate students. As I mentioned, we have programs all the way up to a PhD level. We'll be focusing mainly on MS during this presentation today. We have 403 full-time faculty within the department and 248 tenure and tenure track faculty. And specific to the College of Engineering, we have over $104 million, in external research awards. We are ranked 34 Best Engineering Graduate School and number 35 Best Engineering Undergrad School in the US. And again, just a little bit more of a specific breakdown. Over to the left, you can see just how many programs we offer and the numbers there. 9 PhD programs, 32 masters, and then of course our bachelor's programs, minors, and graduate certificates. And over to the right-hand side, as I mentioned, is just a deeper breakdown of that global campus network and where these programs, our graduate programs, are starting to expand to, and where we're now offering some of those programs. This slide has a couple animations or different pieces to it. I think if you click through maybe 3 times there, and just one more. Perfect. This is our College of Engineering mission. As an academic institution, our main product is people. Our success is based on the quantity and quality of the people we produce. We produce transformative engineers, and that's, of course, both students and faculty, with a global impact, which I think is very clear, as you can see, with our 13 campuses and our global network. So with that, I will take a step back. I will go ahead and pass it over to Joseph and Stefano to go ahead and share with you a little bit more about our masters in wireless and network engineering and Internet of Things. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Emily, and good morning, everyone. I'm Joseph Jornet, and together with Stefano, we're going to introduce our 2 programs. And to do that, let's start with a statement. We know that ubiquitous, universal, and secure connectivity is really what drives our society. Now, for a moment, imagine your life without internet. Imagine there is no connectivity to anything. Some of you or some of us would be very happy. Some of you would feel miserable. The reality is that life would be different. So if you can understand where we are today, where we come from, let's envision together what the future of our hyper-connected society looks like. And in that future, there is an institution that it's trying to define or trying to lead what's going to be the future of wireless. And that's the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things. What's the mission of the Institute? Well, there are four aspects here. There is research. We're a leading institution for research and development in smart and connected systems. We educate, we train the next generation of researchers and professionals in these areas of communications and networking. We're a think tank in the idea that we don't just, publish papers or give degrees, but we actually try to influence the global discussion and policy for connectivity. And we are a technology incubator in the sense that we generate lots of intellectual property and software, and we commercialize it either through external companies or even with our own spin-offs. Now, what are the areas in the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things? Well, we work on the next generation of wireless systems. We are using 5G, next comes 6G or NextG. That's what we're working on at different areas of the spectrum. We want to share the spectrum. Therefore, it means that there is a lot of software-defined aspects of your networks. And not just electromagnetics. We also talk about acoustics or ultrasonic networks, or we talk about nano, bio, and quantum communications. We engage AI in different ways. On the one hand, we utilize artificial intelligence to optimize our networks, but at the same time, our networks are the ones that allow artificial intelligence to grow and to reach everyone. Now, there are different verticals that we focus on, from traditional conventional cellular networks all the way to digital health, industrial Internet of Things, smart agriculture, you pick it. And as you can imagine, most of the innovation in communications and networking started with, defense and security applications. So yes, we do a lot on networking in contested environments, tactical networks, secure wireless networks, resilient and elastic networks, you pick it. Now, if you were to explore the Institute, we work on very diverse topics, as you have seen, right? All the way from underwater networks. And for example, our colleagues, Professor Milica Stojanovic, Professor Stefano in the call, Professor Melodia, have been for years developing, think of it as the infrastructure that allows you to connect, but for anything that actually happens underwater. So, and in that case, we're dealing with acoustic communications. We can go from underwater to the air and talk about drone networks. We're not necessarily talking about building a drone. We're actually talking about creating a swarm of drones that don't require a user, but they coordinate with each other to accomplish complex missions. And if you're happy with the air, let's go all the way to space. We're actually building what's going to be Northeastern's first satellite in orbit, which will be carrying some technology developed at the Institute that operates at very high frequencies of the spectrum, the terahertz band. And again, we have a launch window within the next 2 to 3 years. So this is actually happening. It's not just a PowerPoint illustration, which is what you can see in this moment, but it's going to be a reality. Now, we're not just working at the big scale, we also work at the nanoscale, and there are many applications that relate to, for example, interfacing with your body, and not with just a wearable device, but maybe with implantable devices. So there is a flavor of the Institute connected to bio and medical, which some of you may find very appealing. Now, I keep saying we, who is in the Institute, so it's a group of very active faculty, many of them tenure or tenure track full faculty, some of them focus as teaching faculty or focus as research faculty. You'll get to interact with many of us, and that's exciting. Our work is funded by many different agencies in the US as well as industry. And why would you care about this? Well, we'll come up again later to these companies. This is a slide that, at some point we'll need a couple of slides because there are so many logos popping up that these are companies that not only work with us, but they actually pay to work with us and to take advantage of our knowledge, of our facilities, and of course, of the people that we prepare, which could be you. Now, beyond this, as I said, we're a think tank. We try to influence policy. So we are either members or even founding members of some of the main alliances and consortiums in the US and globally that allow us not only to learn what's trendy and therefore what do you need to know to land a job, but also it allows us to influence where we need to be focusing as a community. And again, you can do that at Northeastern because we are part of all these activities. And of course, we are not just a single institution. Yes, we have 13 campuses or more, but also we collaborate with institutions across the world, which eventually means that there are opportunities for that. And we have also many visiting students and faculty from across the world, everyone here. We do have tons of toys. By toys, I mean research platforms that actually you also get to take advantage in different ways, as we will explain in a few slides. We have the world's largest radio frequency emulator. We have a private 5G network. So if you are in one of our buildings, in addition to your cellular providers, you can see that there is an experimental cellular network that we built by integrating hardware from different vendors and using an open source, call it software, to run your cellular network. We have different type of testbeds operating at different frequencies. And we can do that legally because actually we have what's known as an FCC, the Federal Communications Commission Innovation Zone, which means that we can test wireless technologies without having to go through the whole process of certification. And we are also an integrated and testing facility for open radio access network devices. So there are manufacturers that send us their hardware before they can sell it, just so we can stamp on them a logo that says that they are ORAN compliant. Now, at this moment, you are, okay, so why do I care about this cool research? Why do I care about all these platforms? Well, why? Well, you care because if you were to join any of our 2 master programs, you actually will have access to this. And by that, what I mean is that these researchers working on every aspect from underwater to space are going to be teaching you. And yes, there are going to be courses on fundamentals, but there are going to be very advanced courses that only you can get if you're here. All these platforms that we've shown you, well, those are platforms that you will be able to leverage if you take the right courses. It's not that every course has every platform, but these are platforms that I also utilize for teaching. So you get exposed to them from the very beginning. And of course, we talk about companies, and we'll talk more about them later. So again, we're training you on what we know industry needs, and there might be an opportunity for you actually to get a pipeline into those. So with that, let's talk about the 2 programs. And for that, I would like to invite Stefano to take the lead. Thank you, Stefano.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. As Giuseppe mentioned, again, from the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things, came these 2 programs that we specifically designed to have our students to be ready for research, because again, as Giuseppe says, we have a lot of research activities going on. Emily highlighted Northeastern as an R1 institution, which means that research is one of the main activities of the whole of the faculty and staff at the university. But again, also for developing the workforce for the hyper-connected society of the future. The first master that we want to talk to you about is a Master of Science in Wireless and Network Engineering. This is something that at Northeastern we had for years. And this master in particular, however, came out from the consideration that many of us did, that the way we taught networking was really separated in a sense. The electrical engineering component of networking was a track for electrical engineers, and the computer engineering side of networking was catered to those who had a computer engineering or a computer science background. Networking is certainly a complex topic that needs to be dealt with in, as we say, layers, but at the same time, we thought that a network engineer should be fluent in both the electrical and the computer engineering side. And that's what the Master of Science in Wireless and Network Engineering proposes to the student. Let's describe the program. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is the justification, right? But then eventually, when you study to become a network engineering, you get this degree through a combination of coursework research in the form of a project or a master thesis, and of course, the possibility of accessing the industry through our co-op program. Next. The again, justification from a workforce development point of view, it's evident the number of investments on the field and the number of jobs that, especially in the Western world, in Europe and in North America, are expected to be developed in the past 5 years, not even longer than that, are definitely in the millions. So we want to make sure that the relevant trend that goes from the basics to the most relevant IoT, 6G, and tactile internet, and so on, are all included in our education. Next. The master in terms of structure is very similar to many other master programs and has two major options in terms of being completed. One is the course-only track. Students are required to earn 32 credits to get the degree. 8 credits should be realized in the form of 2 core classes, and the remaining 24, if you go only for the coursework track, are to be taken in the form of 6 elective courses. Some of you might instead be interested in joining any of the faculty of the Institute and of the department overall to instead do some research in the form of a project, which is usually 4 hours credit, or in the form of a thesis. So if you choose the thesis course track, you will have 8 credits in the form of 2 core classes like before, 16 credits in the form of 4 elective courses instead of 6, like in the course-only track, but 8 credit will be in the form of a master thesis, where you again will join an advisor and their lab and produce a master thesis that has all the thesis you will have to illustrate and, as we say, defend. Next. This is a typical example. Of course, we are not going through the list. What I want to point out is this. First of all, as mentioned, independently of the course of the track, whether course only or the thesis track, look at the core courses. You will have to fulfill the core, which is 8 credits, which means 2 classes, chosen among these 3. Fundamental of computer network, wireless communication system, and mobile and wireless networking. As you can imagine, this is really the core of network engineering, right? From the structure of the network, of course, internet is the main case study, wireless communication system, the accessing the internet nowadays happens more and more through wireless communication. So it's very important to know how they work and what's the trend in wireless, and mobile and wireless networking in general, because mobility and so on are also nowadays fundamentals. For the elective course, you can choose among very many engineering and computer science courses. In this sense, we are interdisciplinary because, as I mentioned, the networking is engineering, but also involves a lot of software, a lot of system design that comes from computer science. What I want to highlight here is the incredible richness of this program. Every semester, you will have to choose 2 courses among very many. And while these are listed here as very many courses, again, I can assure you that every single semester, the over 20 full-time faculty in the Institute offer well over 10, but more often 14, 15 of these courses. So it's very difficult to find a program that is this rich in terms of the choices you can have. These span from artificial intelligence courses geared towards networking, electrical engineering core classes, and protocol design and optimization classes as well. Next. As mentioned, the networking is also, what we call usually the higher layers of the protocol stack are founded in software. So we teamed up with our colleagues of the Curie College of Computer Sciences and came up with some courses that you can take without petition, and they are directly embedded in this program because they are relevant to the program: mobile application development, web development, network security, of course, which is fundamental. Next. And the next master that we have is the Master in Internet of Things, so something that is really more specific, not only to the trend, but also to the research in the Institute. And for this, I'll call again on Giuseppe to illustrate this master.
Thank you, Stefano. So let's talk about this program, the Master of Science in Internet of Things. First of all, this is a program that is jointly developed by our institute and the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering in the College of Engineering and the Curie College of Computer Sciences. It's a program that is still an engineering program, but it's run by the IoT Faculty Committee, which includes both faculty from COE, Stefano and myself, as well as a couple of colleagues from the Curie College of Computer Sciences. Now, with this in mind from the beginning, what's the goal of this program? Well, this program is to create, is to train, is to prepare highly qualified researchers and the specialized workforce that will help us develop and, achieve the full potential of the Internet of Things, which is the globally interconnected continuum of untethered devices that interact with each other, with the environment, with people, with everything. We're talking about networks that are autonomous, that are intelligent, that can operate in challenging and extreme environments. And to be prepared for that, of course, you will have to take some coursework. You might be able to do supervised research, and you might be able to have industry experience. I would like to say it in the following way, right? When we talk about the Internet of Things, there are at the very least two things, right? There is the things, which means embedded systems, hardware, but then there is the internet, the communications, the networking. And this is what the program tries to make sure that you have by the time you graduate. Now, if you think how the internet appeared, right? The internet started as a collaborative network of researchers with different final applications. Then it became popular when everyone got access to it. But if you look at the trends today, in addition to humans, the internet is largely used for machine-to-machine communication. So sensors talking to the others, sensors talking to actuators, devices at your home talking to the cloud, and vice versa. So we're talking about billions of machine-to-machine connections that just keep increasing. We're talking about applications that are aiming to connect everything, what you have at home, what you have in your car, on the road, what you have in space. It's up to you. So if you look at the numbers, if anything, this continues to grow exponentially. And therefore, it's easy to find, not easy, but, that there is a clear market need. And therefore, we know that students are needed, well-qualified people are needed for this. Now, one key aspect of this program is its interdisciplinarity. And as such, we said, look, this is centered at the Institute and the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. And of course, we will see that there are ways that it expands through the different departments within the College of Engineering, but also the Curie College of Computer Sciences. But there is always a business component. Therefore, there is actually going to be inputs from the Moray McKim School of Business. When you talk about Internet of Things, you talk about collecting data that may have to be protected, or data that you're not supposed to be collecting. So we'll also engage the School of Law. Many of the applications of the IoT are in health. So actually, you will have an opportunity to engage with the Bouvet College of Health Sciences, and so on and so forth. Pretty much every college at Northeastern is engaged with this program. Now, how does this program look? Well, as before, there are two options. There is a course-only track in which you will have to take 28 credits or 7 core courses. This is a much more structured, defined program, and you have room for one free elective. And that one free elective, you could either take one course, or you can decide to do one semester of supervised research. One semester, it's not enough to call it a thesis, but again, you can get the research experience if you want. If not, you can go on with courses. Now, why do we ask you to these so many core courses? Well, the idea is that if we want to call you an IoT engineer, you need to have a 360-degree view of the field. So how do we start? Well, one of the courses that you have to take it's the core course on wireless sensor networks and the Internet of Things. Fine. Then we said it's the internet and it's the thing. So what's the internet? Well, you need to take a course on communications, and it can even be closer to wireless communications, so the physical layers, or it can be closer to the networks, in this case, mobile and wireless networking. All these communications, as well as the hardware today, are driven, infused, enabled by AI. So we want you to create a course on algorithms at the graduate level, so then you can go and take again a data analysis on machine learning course at the graduate level. We understand that many students today come with knowledge of ML and AI at an undergraduate level. Well, here we're really trying to take you to the next step, right? And the next level means, okay, well, you need to go through algorithms because that will make you much more ready to be able to make the most out of the machine learning and AI courses that we offer at the graduate level. Now, we have said IoT, it's also the thing. So yes, there is a course requirement for embedded systems or sensors. And we have been talking about interdisciplinarity. So we expect you to take at least one course either on spectrum policy issues for wireless, so understanding the legalities of developing a new radio and wireless technology, or maybe you're more interested in business. So we offer the course on Intro to Platform Business Models, or again, you're willing to look at it from, again, management perspective. So you're allowed to take one course on innovation for next generation products and systems. And on top of that, there is another requirement, which is the requirement on security. We understand that security has always been a problem with connectivity, and we understand that no one, for example, wants to lose access to their bank accounts. But remember, when you're dealing with Internet of Things, you're dealing with devices that physically interact with their environment. So security in this case is not just losing money or your data, it's potentially losing your, safety and integrity. So we are also expecting you to take one course in security. So if you count all these requirements, which again, they are requirements, but you have freedom within each requirement, is what will help you have this 360-degree view of the field that we have been talking about. Now, for that one remaining course, we have courses with other departments of the College of Engineering. For example, you want to develop, let's say, smart buildings, smart infrastructure, so you can take that class from civil engineering, for example. Or no, you say, look, I want to double down in the business innovation because I do have a great idea. I know now how to develop it and I want to be rich. Great. I mean, remember us when you become a very rich, Northeastern has a very strong donors program. You may want to go into say, no, I'm very interested in medical IoT. So actually we offer courses, for example, relating to health informatics with our College of Health Sciences, and so on and so forth with the different colleges. If you were to come, when the time comes, we can discuss which are the courses that you can take with the instructors that Stefano and I have already been talking. So they are ready and they know that they will have a collection of students who will not necessarily be business majors or health majors, but will come from an interdisciplinary training in engineering. Now, we talked about co-op. We said we gave this as an option for the two programs. And what we want to say here is that, as we're saying, we train you in what our industry partners tell us that they need, and therefore you will have the right knowledge to be able to join them, but also through the Institute, we get to learn about many opportunities, sometimes for full-time co-op, sometimes for a summer internship. You saw the slide with all the companies before. All those companies, or many of those companies, are willing, and not only willing, but excited to host co-op students. So when the time comes, if you're taking the proper courses and of course done well, right? We're all assuming here that you're all going to dedicate yourself and you're going to do well in your courses, then we will be able to hand you over to these companies as the need arises. And with that, I think that we can go back to Emily, and again, we'll stay, Stefano and I, here for the rest of the call until the end to answer any questions. Emily, back to you.
Thank you so much, Joseph and Stefano, for diving in and covering all of the details of the two programs. I know that we have a variety of attendees on today's webinar, so I just want to go over some next steps depending on where you're at in the application process. This slide here covers a roadmap for those of you who might already be accepted into a program. You might be coming to start in spring of 2026, and if that is the case, we are excited to welcome you. So if we do have anyone in attendance today who is going to be starting very soon at Northeastern, this is a really helpful roadmap from everything from paying your enrollment fee, committing to your program, to checking in with all the different departments, applying for your I-20 visa if you are joining us from internationally, planning to attend your orientations and booking your travel plans, everything like that. Of course, if you have any questions, even as you're already accepted and going throughout this process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us in admissions. I'll be handing it over very shortly to one of our student ambassadors who's joined us today. But I always just like to point out at this point in time too, as you're maybe getting ready to move to Boston and start a brand new program, join Northeastern for the first time, our student ambassadors are such wonderful resources. They went through it as well and are here to support you and help you through the time before you begin your program. Next slide, please. And here are just some important upcoming dates if you are still undergoing the application process. I'll start with spring 2026 just because those those deadlines are more quickly approaching. If you are an international student, either currently outside or inside of the US, that application deadline is quickly approaching on November 1st. And then if you're currently residing in the US, the deadline there is going to be December 1st. I know a majority of you on this call today are probably looking to apply for fall 2026, which is our next upcoming fall cycle. So a couple of the deadlines there, a couple priority deadlines. If anyone here is interested in applying for a PhD program, that priority deadline is going to be coming up on December 1st. And for all master's programs, the priority deadline is January 15th. We, of course, continue to accept both application types all the way through June, July, August in some situations, as you see listed here. However, we do always recommend applying for those priority deadlines for priority review of your applications. However, if you do miss those deadlines, it's going to be June 1st for international students currently outside the US, July 1st if you're an international student currently in the US or Canada, and then August 1st if you are currently living in the US or Canada. And now I'd like to highlight our graduate ambassadors. As I mentioned, these are current students who are in our programs. They are currently living, these programs day in and day out. And not too long ago, they were in your shoes where they were considering Northeastern, going through the application process. There's many ways that you can get in contact with our graduate ambassadors. This QR code will take you right to the website and will introduce you to all of our ambassadors as well, and just give you all the different modes you can contact them. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to Charishma to go ahead and give you a little overview of her journey to Northeastern, what program she's currently studying. And I do believe on the next slide, we have a slide all about our wonderful Charishma. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. Hi, everyone. So I'm Charishma, and I'm currently doing my master's in Internet of Things here at Northeastern University at Boston campus. So I'm really passionate about IoT, network security, embedded systems, and also hardware security. And I've had a chance to do my co-op here too. And I also enjoy working about secure boot or in wireless networks. And right now I'm student ambassador for IoT program. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about the program, co-op, or about the student life here. And yeah, you can always reach out to COE ambassador email that Emily shown in the previous slide, or you can connect to me using my email if you have any questions or you want to ask about anything after this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Charishma. And a couple of additional requirements here if you are getting ready to apply. For the master's programs at this time, we have eliminated the application fee requirement. So if you're applying to any of the programs that we talked about today, either wireless network engineering or Internet of Things, you will not be required to submit an application fee. The only exception to this is if you do happen to be interested in a PhD program as well. There is still an application requirement or application fee requirement for our PhD programs. If there is anyone on this call currently who's interested in applying to a PhD program, just pop your information in the Q&A and I will go ahead and provide you with that fee waiver code. But I'm sure that most of you are interested in our master's programs that we covered today, so there is no longer a fee associated there. We require 2 letters of recommendation. Of course, we do encourage academic references where possible, but we do also accept professional references as well. When you're submitting your application, you will be required to submit your unofficial transcripts. You will also be required to submit your statement of purpose and your resume. You can see here that the GRE is crossed out. We no longer require the GRE for application. However, if you've taken the test previously and you do believe that your scores will enhance your application, you're more than welcome to submit those scores along with your file, but it is no longer a requirement of the application. And I see a question about this in the Q&A, so I'll answer it live right here while we cover it as well. If you are joining us from internationally and the mode of instruction at your institution was not English, or your country does not fall on the list of waived countries for the English proficiency requirement, you will be required to take either the IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo English proficiency exam. So we do have a list on our website of countries where this requirement is waived. However, a new development is that if you have attended a university where the mode of instruction was English, then that will be waived for you as well. Next slide, please. This slide here highlights some of the current scholarship offers that we currently are offering. This doesn't necessarily apply to the programs that we chatted about today. However, we do have some 25% regional campus scholarships for those global campuses that we mentioned earlier in the presentation and some of the newer programs that are launching there. We are continuously updating this list, so while this is just a snapshot at this point in time, we do encourage you to continue to look on our website for any new scholarship offers that we may initiate. So this is a good slide to take a brief look at now, but definitely do a deeper dive on our website if anything here is interesting to you. And that does bring us to the end of our presentation. A couple more highlights. I know that during this time, a lot of you are just beginning the application process. And although we covered the basics today, you might have some questions as you're moving through, which in that case, we are more than happy to assist you through our admissions department. We have a wonderful operations team who can do a deeper dive into your specific information and just make sure that everything's looking okay on your end. So you can reach out to our admissions office here, admissions or COE-graduate admissions at northeastern.edu. You could definitely take a screenshot of this slide to keep the information there. And as Charishma mentioned, we have an ambassador webpage and an email address where we can link you with the specific ambassador for your program. And they are wonderful resources as you're going through this process, whether you're just beginning the application or you've committed to a program and are going to be joining us at Northeastern in the near future. I highly encourage you to reach out to our ambassadors. And that is it from my end. Again, I just want to thank Joseph, Stefano, and Charishma so much for your time today. We've already had some great questions that have come through the Q&A, and we do have a little bit of time left. If there are any other questions that you would like us to answer live, please feel free at this time to type those in the chat. But again, thank you everyone on this call today for the time, and I hope that you really enjoyed learning about our programs. I've seen a couple questions come through that I'll just address as we're waiting. If anybody else has any questions they want to put in there. I see some interest in Internet of Things, which is wonderful. And if you have any questions about getting that application process started, like I said, you can find the link to the application on our website or send us an email in admissions and we can help you get started there. One question came through is for a student that's already accepted into a different program for fall 2026 who's interested in either wireless network engineering or Internet of Things, asking about transferring programs. So in this case, you do need to submit a additional application to the program that you're interested in. We encourage you to submit multiple applications. So even if you already accepted into another program and another one is of interest to you, all you'll have to do is submit a supplemental application via Slate, and then it will, take a couple of weeks for that to be reviewed, and then you should receive a decision there, and then you can choose between the multiple programs that you've applied for. All right, another question about the TOEFL requirement. So again, if the mode of instruction at the universities where you've received previous degrees was not certified as English, or if the country that you're coming from is not on the list of waived countries for the English proficiency requirement, you will need to either take the TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo English proficiency test. Any other questions before we conclude today? All right, well, the session was recorded and we will be sending the link in a thank you email. So you'll have all of the information that we covered today. And if any other questions pop up after the fact, please feel free to reach out to us in admissions. We're more than happy to connect you back with faculty here if your question is best suited for them. So thank you again so much, Joseph, Stefano, and Charishma for your time today. And we look forward to seeing everyone's applications in the future.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone. Have a
everyone.
wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everyone.